There it is. I mean, you probably already know what it is from the video title. The Nikon Z7 Mark 1. I've got 2 lenses to go with it. Absolutely buzzing. Almost to the point where I can't believe it, you know. It's only a camera at the end of the day. We'll get into all of this. But in today's video, I want to talk about why I've got this camera out of all the cameras that I could get. I made a video only a few months ago saying that I don't want to go mirrorless yet or anything like this. So I feel like I owe it to use, you know, to give an explanation. There's a little bit of a story behind my decision-making process to why I bought this particular camera and the lenses that I got. So yeah, let's go and find somewhere to have a little sit down and we'll have a chat. So how about that for a vista to stop and have a little chat? Gorgeous. We've got Lowe's water there in the background. I'm currently climbing a fell that will be next week's video. So if you want to see me clamber up a fell and get sweaty, be sure to subscribe to my channel and check me out this time next week. Well, it won't be this time next week, it depends what time you're watching it, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Nikon Z7. I didn't actually want to sit and make an exclusive video about my new camera, but there's just a bit of a backstory, like I said, and I enjoy watching these kind of videos, you know, about why photographers buy certain things. We spend a lot of money, you know, and I just find it interesting. So hopefully one or two of you will find it quite interesting as well. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm a landscape photographer based in Britain, and this is not a channel about gear. This is a real one-off really, but I just feel like I owe it to, you know, you guys, my subscribers, yeah, to understand my reasoning to why I've got this camera. And this is a big deal, you know, this is my job at the end of the day, landscape photography. So to buy a new camera, to spend a fair chunk of money in one go, I just want to have a chat about it, you know. So firstly, let me talk you through everything that I've purchased for the Z7 and the new camera system. I've made that sound like I've got a ton of accessories in here for it, but I haven't. This is it. This is it, guys. Nikon Z7 Mark 1, obviously. 14 to 30 f4 lens, and then a 24 to 200 f4 to f6.3 lens. That's it. I've got a small rig L bracket from Amazon. I think it was about 30 odd quid. I've never had an L bracket that fits the camera so well. Absolutely perfect. What else? Oh, and the memory card, because it's the Mark 1. It's got these weird, whoa, don't want to be dropping that. These weird XQD memory cards that are absolute giants, but it was a necessary purchase. So, if you don't know what's happened in the past, long story short, I dropped my old camera, Nikon D70-200, in a lake, and it's broke, gone forever. I've tried to revive it, wouldn't happen. Now, probably the day after I dropped that camera, my initial decision was just to buy it again. Nikon D70-200, I loved it. It never failed me. It did everything I needed and more as a landscape photographer. And I just didn't really want to go out and spend a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, I wanted a new camera in the same way that, you know, I haven't got the best television in the world. I'd love to have the latest and greatest TV, but it's a case of, is it worth going out and spending a load of money on it? And in terms of my D70-200, it always did the job, you know. So that was the plan. I thought, you know, I'll probably get a D70-200 and the lens that went in the water as well. Less than £1,000. I don't know, off the top of my head, I should have checked this. 800 quid, I'll put it up on the screen, see what I could have got it for. Done and dusted, and then I'm back in action with the D70-200. And then a couple of days later, I kind of thought, you know what, I do want a new camera. I don't need one, but I want one. I want a new toy. You know, I've worked hard over the past few years, and I'd like to sort of treat myself, you know, that sort of thing. Get a nice shiny new toy, modernise my system, whatever. And I thought, you know, there's not going to be a better time to buy one. And the way I looked at it was, if I don't replace a D70-200 with a D70-200, I'm essentially saving 700 or 800 quid off a new system. Best time to buy a new camera, let's go for it. And then came a process which, to be fair, I quite enjoy. I wouldn't say I'm passionate about gear, but I certainly don't dislike gear. You know, a lot of people say that. I love gear. I find it really interesting. I love seeing what other people shoot with. I feel confident in saying there's not necessarily like a bad camera brand out there. People just have their own preferences, and I love that. You know, it's the same as photography itself. People have their own preferences of how photographs are taken, you know, composition, and I love all that subjectivity, you know, if that's the word. So I decided I want to modernise. Even though I released a video a few months ago saying, I'll put it up on the screen here, I'm not going to get a mirrorless camera yet, or something it was. But I still stand by that. You know, it sounds silly now, I'm saying it because I've just bought a mirrorless camera, but like, I had something that wasn't broken, so I didn't need to fix it in the D7-200, and that was the point of that video. But it broke, so I had this excuse to buy a new one. Now, this camera that's filming me now, Olympus EM1 Mark II, I've gotten so well with that over the past, how long have I had it now? 4 or 5 months. Bought that purely as a video camera. When I researched a new video camera, I didn't care about brands, I cared about specifications. I wanted 4K shooting, uncropped, I wanted nice image stabilization, I wanted a mic input, I wanted a flip round screen, all these things which is irrelevant at the minute, but that was the camera I ended up with. Used it obviously months, over a period of months for my video work. I just started realising that it was such a good stills camera as well. So when I decided to upgrade from the D7-200, naturally I kind of thought, you know what, I like the Olympus system, I really do. It's mirrorless, it's modern, you know, it feels nice and modern, it's light, it's not particularly expensive. It's all expensive, like, isn't it? That's relative, but compared to full frame and all of this stuff, or so I thought, we'll get into that in a minute, it was like the obvious for me. I haven't got brand loyalty. I've always, I don't know, looked at Nikon stuff first because I've always shot with it. The same way I've got an iPhone. It's just the type of person I am. I'd be reluctant to go to like an Android phone just because I know it, you know. It's not failed me. Watch this, I'll drop this in a ton within the next week, watch this. So anyway, I had my heart set on the Olympus system, all right? And I was gonna get, I think it's the 7-14 lens. I've got the 12-60 that's filming me now, and then it was the 40-150 lens. Nice trinity of lenses, wonderful focal range for a landscape photographer. Job done. I would have bought a second body, maybe the EM1 Mark III as a bit of an upgrade to treat myself. And that was that. And I was almost ready to buy it. And I remember in my office, only like last week, by the way. Well, for me now, it's different when this video comes out. And I was sat in the office and I thought, oh, Nikon Z7. Now the Nikon Z7, guys, probably wrongly, because like I said at the start, it's just a camera, isn't it? But I've always had this camera, the Z7, you know, the Z7 Mark II, up on a pedestal, you know. Oh, it's the ultimate camera. If money wasn't an object, I'd get a Nikon Z7 tomorrow. And I think for that reason, I'd always just seen it as like unattainable financially, you know, for myself. But I just decided to check. It had been a year or so since I'd last looked at Z7s. The prices of them. The Z7 Mark II's been out a while, obviously. So I thought, I wonder what the price of the Z7 Mark I is now, and I checked, and I was like instantly surprised. And then I thought, let me check the lenses. 14-30, 24-200. I'd always known that they're the two lenses that I wanted. We'll get into that in a minute as well. Did all the calculations. I'll put them up on the screen as a comparison with the Olympus. The comparable Olympus setup that I was going to get, and it was quite negligible, the difference. I still think the Nikon Z7 was more expensive, but I want to say like 200 or 300 quid more expensive. It'll be up on the screen there. And I just instantly, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my goodness, like I could just about afford that. Let's do it. And what's more, it's one of the big draws to the Olympus system, landscape photography. Look at this. Can you see how steep this is now? Was weight, micro 4/3 system. And I weighed the Nikon setup. Of course, it was one lens less. And it was, I think it was lighter, maybe the same as the Olympus. And it was those two reasons, the price and the weight comparison, that made me think I have to get the Nikon Z7. You know, I have to. Now, one thing that I really want to make clear, if you're a beginner watching this, make this the most important thing that you take from this video. This is a wonderful camera. It's going to have better image quality than anything I've ever shot with. You know, a few new cool features that I've always wanted. Live histogram, great video camera as well, of course, that's what I do here as well. Good high ISO capabilities. I could go on and on and on. Focus peaking. But it's not going to make me a better photographer overnight, right? Make sure that you know that. You all know that, but I just, almost as a bit of a disclaimer, you know, I want to mention that. In fact, it'll probably make me a worse photographer for a while, because the buttons are in different places than my D7200, and it's taken a bit of getting used to. But that's that. So that's the story of why I've ended up with this camera and these two lenses. It's nice having two lenses, I have to admit, it's nice. Like I said at the start, I feel very, very grateful. This is an expensive camera. I think all in, well, you'll have just seen it on the screen. What was it, like $2.5 or something? I bought it all used, but they're all in really good nick. I'm not about buying new. I don't understand why you'd buy new if you could buy used, obviously as long as it's in good quality and everything. I feel like I've got quite a good deal on it all, you know. And yeah, I'm just so grateful, to be honest. Really, really grateful. I love this job. I love doing this for a living. I feel so fortunate. And it's just such a privilege to have such an incredible camera setup. And I'm going to really cherish this for years to come, you know. Fingers crossed I don't drop it in a tarn. Now, hopefully I'm not babbling on for too long. I don't really like sitting and talking like this for ages. It's not like me. Not all in one go, at least. Lenses. So there's 2 or 3 like landscape photographers that I want to give a bit of a shout out to, actually. YouTubers as well. There's loads that use the Z system, but a few in particular. Julian Baird, based down in the southwest, he did a wonderful sort of review of this 24-200 lens, which I was delighted to hear that it's a great lens. You know, I didn't try any of this gear out. Just took reviews, read reviews, and took other people's word for it. You know, and yeah, he made a wonderful video about this lens. Basically said it's fantastic. So thank you to Julian for that insight. It really is helpful. Stuart McGlennon, he's got this exact setup. I don't really watch YouTube that much anymore. But he had a particular video about his setup, and it's this exact setup, or it was a few months ago. And a really big thanks to him as well. And like, I reckon Stuart's like the same as me. He doesn't really enjoy doing these sorts of videos, chatting about stuff. I've met Stuart and he's proper sound, but he just crosses me as the type of guy who just likes getting out of his camera. But his video was really helpful as well. And yeah, James Brew, love his channel. He's got a similar setup, I think. And yeah, just really insightful. King Grant, Nigel Danson. And yeah, just thank you to all those guys. It's been super helpful. And I'm proper over the moon with the setup, like. And I just cannot wait to start using it, you know. It's going to be an absolute treat. And I think, to be honest, guys, that's all I've got to say about it. I don't want to go into it too much, because at the end of the day, like I said, it is only gear. I mean, I would have got the Z7 Mark II, I mentioned that, but I couldn't justify the extra cost. There was a few extra things which were cool. You got like a faster processor. It had that feature where you could put a custom button so you could get all the stuff. On the Z7 Mark I, one of the only things I don't like about it is on the live view, there's no option to get everything off the screen so you can see your composition properly. You could do it in the viewfinder. I just find that mad, but you could do it on the Z7 Mark II, but it wasn't worth like an extra few £100. And yeah, it's got a few other things as well. It's got one thing in it that I thought is cool. You can shoot up to 15-minute long exposures without having an external, a remote shutter, sorry, which is great, you know. But again, I couldn't justify the cost for the sake of having a remote shutter in my bag. So that's that. And to be fair, like I said at the start, this isn't a gear channel. I don't want to sit and chat about it for ages. I just want to get on with my photography and enjoy it. But as always, I'd love to hear your comments. Anyone that shoots with this, what's your opinions? And yeah, I'd love to know what sort of gear you guys shoot with and that. Like I say, it's not a passion of mine, gear, but I find it really interesting. At the end of the day, it is important to the majority of us, I'd say, you know. So that's that. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me babble along. But To my regular subscribers more than anything, I just wanted to explain how I'd come about making this purchase. Hopefully that answers some of your questions. I'm getting a new bag soon as well. In fact, it's getting delivered today for me, so I'll have that soon as well. It's another Mindshift bag. Buzzing for that. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Remember, tune in to my video next week. Subscribe if you're new, but tune in next week if you want to see me on this wonderful fell here in the Lake District National Park. I'm going to take a photograph here now, which is going to be my first photograph with the Z7. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.